I really like about this little palette, and there are some things I don't really care for about this palette. Now to get to the showstoppers, also known as the highlighters that make this all limited edition, let's do some swatching. Moon, and this one is Galactic. I was like, oh. Like my fake boomerang. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be answering so many questions that you guys asked me on one of my previous videos and all over Instagram about this little baby. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Collection Palette, and you guys were asking me, how does it smell? How does it compare to what you currently have? Can you give us swatches? So I'm going to answer all of that for you right now. The reality of me getting this palette is pretty intense. I actually was going to Walmart because I heard it was $11.88 at Walmart if you could find it, and I went to my Walmart the day before it was supposed to drop, so I guess like the last day of April, and I didn't see it. I saw in Trend Mood some Walmarts were already starting to put them out, so I was hopeful. No luck. I went the next day, which would have been May 1st, to get this little baby. Again, my Walmart didn't have it. And then I went, I think 2 days later, to go do something else at Walmart, and I was like, let me see. And I was let down again. So I was like, screw it. I'm gonna go online and purchase it. This is the light medium palette. I thought about getting the deep one as well, but I thought, well, these highlighters are going to be the exact same. So the difference between this palette and the deep/warmer one is that the bronzer and the blush are different. The bronzer is definitely a deeper shade, and so is the blush. It's more of like that deeper, rosier look. But the highlighters are the exact same in both kits. So that's why I didn't buy both, because I figured these would actually work better for me long term, and I was already getting these, so I was like, I don't need two of those. But I did see online, and so many of you told me on Instagram that their website is sold out, and that is the only way I could find this. So hopefully a Walmart close to you still has them. What I would really suggest if you are still wanting this is to call some of your local Walmarts. If you have at least more than one in the area, try calling them, seeing if they have them in stock. Call your beauty department. Be like, guys, hook me up. I hope you can find one if you like it. I'm going to give you some swatches and give you an in-depth review as best I can. I have officially had this for 2 days when I'm sitting down to film this for you, but I have swatched it and worn it for both of those days. There are some things I really like about this little palette, and there are some things I don't really care for about this palette. What I really like about this palette is, yes, you're getting four of their products in one palette, but you're also getting a perfume. A perfume that so many of us that actually really like the smell, we're always like, if they made this into a perfume, I would wear it every day. They heard us. If you really have always been interested in the butter bronzers or the highlighters, but you're not a huge fan of the smell that the butter bronzer puts off, you may actually like this palette if you can get your hands on it, because the smell is like so much less intense than it is in the individuals. In the individuals, when you open it, you smell it immediately. I didn't smell it with this. I don't think that it has a very infused aroma smell at all, in my opinion. You can still smell something, but nothing like the actual butter bronzer. So if you're sensitive, you may be interested in this. The reason I love the bronzers from Physicians Formula is because it is a buildable product, and it is so comparable to some of the high ends, in my opinion, and so many other people's opinions, that I was really excited to try the bronzer in this. Now this bronzer is the same that they have out on the market to buy separately. So I was really curious to see if it matched the same, and some of you asked me that question as well. So I'm going to be matching it to my original butter bronzer that you know I have loved and hit pan on. You guys were asking me, is the formula the same? Do you think it's different? On my hand here, I have swatched the brand new one in the palette and the one that I've had for about a year. They're really the same shade, but I can tell you a fresh one definitely just gives a little bit of extra zhuzh to it because it's fresh, it's not been dipped into a million times, but they are the same color. They have a little bit of sheen to them, not too much, but you can definitely build it to kind of achieve the look that you're wanting. It's so interesting though, because when I'm smelling my hand, I absolutely smell the aroma of the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. But when I open this palette, I don't really smell it the same way I do when I open up the compact. Now that could be though because the way that the compact is shaped is kind of like containing the scent, so when you open it, it's like a whiff of it. Whereas the container on this may just be a little bit like it's not containing it the same. I don't really know, but I didn't think that the palette had as much of a scent, but on my hand I can definitely tell you that it smells the same. Now, I don't have the entire collection of Physicians Formula. It's not like I get PR or anything, but I can tell you what else I have in my collection to compare it to the bronzer. And I obviously have the Sun-Kissed bronzer that I told you guys in a previous video that I recently got and love. It's got a more of a reddish tone to it. So I want to compare that to these as well, just to kind of see, and you guys were asking for swatches anyway. So over here is the new one that's Sun-Kissed, and then these are just the regular bronzers. You can build this up to achieve the level of deepness that you want, but I think they all go on really smooth, they all really layer well. It really just depends on what you're looking for. Now, the blush is also the reason I got this particular palette, because I didn't really want a super deep blush, because for me, as you guys know, I'm not too into blush, I'm just kind of getting more and more into it. So what I liked about the look of this blush before I even got it, because clearly I couldn't swatch it, was I liked that this was more of a corally pale pink, and that seems to be kind of what I'm reaching for this spring. It totally builds well, just like the Butter Bronzer, and it has a bit of a sheen shine to it. So that way, if you don't really even like highlighters, although if you didn't like highlighters, I don't know why you'd be buying this palette, but it does have a little bit of a highlighter-esque feel to it. You can see that glisten on it. You can really keep building it up as much as you want. I just keep layering it and layering it just to see how deep I can get it. Now, I can tell you when I apply this though. Like, I'm wearing this today, and I feel like when I'm getting ready in the morning, I don't see it too much, but like when I'm out and about and like checking mirrors and stuff, just doing little touch-ups, I see it. So it's interesting that when I do apply it, I just kind of swirl into the palette here and just kind of apply it from the front to the back. It's very subtle. For me, I don't mind that, but if you are a blush lover, this one, which is in the shade Natural Glow, may not be your jam because it is very pale, and I'm not tan yet. So I'm just kind of like, blush lovers, you tell me if you've tried this, if you like it or not, but I think it's just okay. I think if you like a little touch of blush, this could do okay, but you may have to build it a bit. Now, to get to the showstoppers, also known as the highlighters that make this all limited edition, let's do some swatching. So when I originally opened this and saw these two highlighters, this one is in Full Moon and this one is Galactic, I was like, oh, these are gonna be super intriguing and like nothing else they have in their line. But I thought the Full Moon shade was going to be similar to my Pearl highlighter that I have from them, because it kind of has that like white cast, or so you think it will be. It doesn't really match up to this that way, because this is actually more of a yellow tone. And the highlighter Galactic, some of you have even said this on my Instagram, it's kind of like a glitter bomb. It's got like a purple undertone, but there's definitely more of the glitter flecks in that than there are in the Full Moon shade. It definitely packs a punch with swatching. It's super buttery, super creamy, hence the name Butter Highlighter. But I thought it was going to be a different shade when it came off. I really did. I didn't think that the one was going to be as yellow, because as soon as I swatched this, I was like, oh. And Galactic, yeah, there is some flecks in it, but it also gives you that nice wet look. Like, I still think, I've actually combined the two today on my face and a little bit on my shoulders. I think it gives a beautiful wet look. And I also posted a picture on my Instagram the day I was trying all of these on my face, and so many of you were like, that glow. That was in natural sunlight too. It was actually a beautiful sunny day, and it happened to catch my highlight perfectly. When you combine them on your face, it kind of mellows out both of the shades, in my opinion, because I was worried that the yellow was going to be a little too yellow for what I was going for that day, and the purple with sparkles, the sparkles I was worried was going to take over. But when I combined them, this is the look I get, where you can like turn your face and cut a bitch with your highlighter. I really like it. I also have it on my shoulders today because obviously if we're going to do a video about highlighter, I gotta go full glow, you know? But let's get to the other item really quickly. Let's talk about the fragrance. Now, I will tell you, it is not an exact dupe smell for what you get in the Butter Bronzer. It's got a little bit more of a sandalwood feel to it, I think, but it smells really good and just like a beach. Like, I'm ready to go. It has a more musky sandalwood feel to it. It doesn't last all day. That's one of my biggest complaints, is it doesn't. I put it on in the mornings and I can smell it, and then about halfway through the day, I forget I'm wearing it. So there is that, but I do still think it's really nice for just a quick spritz if you want to keep it in your purse. It's nice and little. So now I'm going to compare these highlighters to the other two that I have in my collection, because I know some of you were curious about other things with Physicians Formula, especially if you can't get this palette. I'm going to give you some other options from Physicians Formula. The other one that I have here that I was talking about was Pearl, and I thought that Full Moon and Pearl were going to be similar. This is such a pretty shade, and this definitely is more white strobing than the other one was. I really thought it was going to be, so I'm going to put them next to each other here. So this is the shade Pearl next to Girlactic. I think that if you can't get Girlactic, you might really like Pearl. I keep calling it Girlactic, it's Galactic. Galactic has more of a purple undertone and a lot of sparkly shine to it, whereas Pearl has more of a little bit of a white undercast to it, and it has like no glitter in it. So you may like that better if you can't get Galactic. And one of the last highlighters that I recently got, the same time I got this palette, is Rose Gold. It's a highlighter that is going to look gorgeous with a tan or a deeper skin tone. This one really isn't like anything in the palette, but I just wanted to mention that because it is a beautiful. My overall thoughts on this palette are I love it. I'm really glad I got it. And if you can get your hands on it, again, call up some Walmarts and see what you can do. I also heard, now I don't know if this is true, but I heard you can maybe get it on Walmart.com too. Maybe you could have it shipped to your store. I don't know if they just didn't know this was gonna go as fast as it did. Because I mean, I saw so many big YouTubers getting it, talking about it. I knew about it before it dropped, so I was like hunting at Walmart, and I unfortunately couldn't get the deal at Walmart. Apparently at Walmart it's like $11.88. In order to get it off their website, you have to pay like $15, I think, but worth it. I really like this. You get 4 different products in it, and they're all amazing quality. Again, you can get these two anytime, but these two were the limited edition. So I would say, I wonder if they're gonna do another run though. This has gone so well for them that, I mean, if they sold out, you'd think they would do another run. I really hope in the future they do more things like this, because I think this is great. It is beautiful. I am gonna look at depotting this, because the main thing I don't like about this, look at this packaging, look how deep it is. And it's mostly this deep because of this. But once you remove this, which you clearly do, you're stuck with an empty hole and a box. So I'm gonna look at depotting it somehow, but what I can say is this does come out, but this is packaged really well. I mean, they spent a good amount of money on packaging, because this isn't like coming loose or anything. So I think I will have to like break apart this packaging to get these little babies out, to maybe just put them in another palette. I also hope they don't dry out. Somebody else mentioned that they were concerned that because they're not in a compact form to kind of seal it, that it could, you know, go bad sooner. I'm not sure, or dry out. So we're gonna have to kind of play that out by ear. But I think this is definitely worth the $11.88 if you can get it at Walmart. I think, again, the butter bronzer, I think you can't go wrong with. It builds up beautifully. So many of you have said you finally got it and you love it as much as I do. These highlighters are good. If you cannot get this palette, do not fret. Again, you can get these from the store. These down here, I think you could find something that you'd like too. Again, Pearl, super close in between these two. I love the Rose Gold. And they have, I think, 2 other highlighter options. I'll put them up here on the screen. I'm not sure how well they would swatch in person compared to these, but I'll bet they're beautiful. I have never had a bad product from the butter line though, to be honest. So my final thoughts on this is I really like it. I think it's great. I think it's beautiful. It gives me this blinding highlight right now, and I love that wet look for summer. Stay tuned for an update for the end of the month with some of the other items that I purchased to kind of give you a more in-depth review on those as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you are new to my channel, I hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below to see all of the fun, loud, weird, unique videos I put out every single week.